Have you ever felt like you are being controlled, guilt-tripped, or gaslighted, but you just can't put your finger on it? You are not crazy. You are being manipulated. Emotional manipulators are everywhere. Friends, family, even coworkers, twisting your feelings, making you doubt yourself, and pulling the strings behind the scene. But today, that ends, because in this video, I'm exposing their sneaky tactics and giving you the ultimate playbook to shut them down for good. If you've ever been trapped in someone else's emotional game, stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you will be untouchable. I will be untouchable. So how do you deal with emotionally manipulative people? Let me start by saying that emotional manipulation is a form of psychological influence that seeks to control or exploit someone by playing on their emotions. Manipulators use guilt, fear, gaslighting, and other tactics to gain power over others. Recognizing and dealing with emotionally manipulative people is crucial for maintaining your mental and emotional well-being. This video will help you identify manipulation tactics and provide effective strategies to protect yourself. So what are the signs of emotional manipulation? Before you can effectively deal with emotional manipulators, you need to recognize the common tactics they use. And so let me quickly talk about some signs of emotional manipulation before we talk about strategies that you can use to mitigate their effects. So the first sign of emotional manipulation is guilt tripping. Manipulators use guilt to make you feel responsible for their problems or unhappiness. Can you just imagine somebody blaming somebody for their own issues? They might say things like, after everything I've done for you, this is how you treat me. If you really loved me, you would. That's another thing they will say. Now, the second sign of emotional manipulation is gaslighting. And gaslighting is when a manipulator makes you doubt your perception, memory, or sanity. They might deny saying things they clearly said. They might twist reality to make you question yourself. They might accuse you of being too sensitive or overreacting. The third sign of emotional manipulation is playing the victim. They exaggerate their struggles to gain sympathy and avoid responsibility. They might say things like, nothing ever goes right for me. No one understands what I go through. Or they might say, you are the only person who can help me. Now, the fourth sign of emotional manipulation is the silent treatment, which involves ignoring you to make you feel anxious or desperate. This makes you more likely to give in to their demands. And the next sign of emotional manipulation is excessive flattery, followed by criticism. They build you up with compliments and then tear you down. They might say things like, you're so smart, but sometimes you just don't think clearly. They might also say, you are great at your job, but you will never be a leader. The sixth sign of emotional manipulation is passive-aggressive behavior. And this involves basically using sarcasm, backhanded comments, or sulking to make you feel guilty or uncertain instead of openly communicating. Instead of communicating openly, they would rather use sarcasm, backhanded compliments, or sulking to make you feel guilty or uncertain. The seventh sign of emotional manipulation is creating drama. If you watched my video on the anatomy of a narcissist, I talked about the fact that narcissists are drama queens and drama kings. They are masters of drama, and they constantly stir up conflict to keep you emotionally engaged and distracted from their manipulation. So how do you deal with emotionally manipulative people? 8 ways to deal with emotionally manipulative people. Now that you can recognize manipulation tactics, here's how to effectively deal with them. Set and enforce boundaries. Boundaries protect you from being controlled. Clearly communicate what you will and won't tolerate. And so you might say something like, I'm happy to help, but I can't do that for you. Or you might say, I won't discuss this topic anymore. If they try to push your boundaries, stay firm, stay there. The power of the Almighty is backing you. You get backing. And so stay firm. Don't allow any narcissist to push your boundaries. The second thing to do when it comes to dealing with emotionally manipulative people is don't engage in their games. Manipulators thrive on emotional reactions, and so stay calm and don't give them the response they want. If they guilt trip you, don't justify yourself. If they use the silent treatment, don't chase after them. Let them be. Your peace is bigger than them. And by refusing to engage, you take away their power. The third thing to do when it comes to dealing with emotionally manipulative people is to trust your instincts. If something feels off, trust your gut. Manipulators often try to make you doubt yourself, but your feelings are valid. And so, trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your gut, trust your feelings. Don't doubt yourself. The fourth thing to do when it comes to dealing with emotionally manipulative people is to use the gray rock method. And what this involves is basically minimizing emotional engagement. If you must interact with a manipulator, for instance, at work or in family settings, minimize emotional engagement. Keep your responses short and neutral, and also don't show strong emotions. Avoid giving them personal information they can use against you. The fifth thing when it comes to dealing with emotionally manipulative people is to call out the behavior. Call it for what it is, because manipulators rely on subtlety. They are subtle people. But by naming their tactics, you take away their power. You can say something like, I see what you're doing and I won't be guilt-tripped. Or you can say, that's not what happened and I won't let you twist the story. Now, the sixth thing to do when it comes to dealing with emotionally manipulative people is don't be afraid to say no. Manipulators often push you to do things you don't want to do. Learn to say no without feeling guilty. Learn to say no without explaining yourself much. You can say something like, no, I'm not comfortable with that. Or you can say something like, I can't help you this time. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Just know that and know that for good. You don't owe anyone an explanation. It's your life at the end of the day. Now, the seventh thing to do when it comes to dealing with emotionally manipulative people is distance yourself. If possible, limit your interactions with manipulative people. Reduce their influence over your life. Last but not the least, seek support when dealing with emotionally manipulative people. Dealing with manipulators can be emotionally draining. You gotta be there to understand what I'm talking about. It can be emotionally draining. It can be energy sucking. But talk to trusted friends, family, or a therapist for guidance and validation. Involve the Holy Spirit too, as I call him the greatest therapist. He helped me when I was confused and didn't know where to turn. I believe he will help you too if you ask him for help. So when do you walk away if you are in an emotionally manipulative relationship? If the manipulation is persistent and harmful, cutting ties may be the best option. This is especially true in cases of toxic relationships where maybe romantic, family, or friendships, or workplace bullying that affects your well-being, or in a case where there is abusive behavior that damages your self-esteem. Remember that your mental health comes first, and so cutting ties may be the best option. My final thoughts on this is emotional manipulation can be subtle, just like Satan, very subtle. Satanic manipulation is also subtle. And so emotional manipulation can be subtle, but by recognizing the signs and setting firm boundaries, you can protect yourself. But the truth is, staying aware, staying strong, and remembering that you don't have to tolerate manipulation is key, because your emotions and your boundaries matter. It's been such a ride, and I'm super grateful you decided to watch this video till the very end. But I would like to ask, Would you like any additional insights on specific situations like dealing with manipulation in relationships, family, or the workplace? Do let me know in the comments, and also hit the subscribe button to become a member of the Oyawale community, where we help one another to overcome narcissistic abuse and emotional trauma. Don't also forget to share this video with a friend.